Hello students, welcome back to your SAT reading course. Today we're going to tackle a science passage from the practice test number 5, and let's begin. So this passage is adapted from Brian Walsh, Whole Food Blues, Why Organic Agriculture May Not Be So Sustainable, 2012 by Time Inc. When it comes to energy, everyone loves efficiency. Cutting energy waste is one of those goals that both sides of the political divide can agree on. Even if there sometimes diverge on how best to get there, energy efficiency allows us to get more out of our given resources, which is good for the economy and mostly good for the environment as well. In an increasingly hot and crowded world, the only sustainable way to live is to get more out of less. Every environmentalist would agree. But change the conversation to food and suddenly efficiency doesn't look so good. Conventional industrial agriculture has become incredibly efficient on a simple land-to-food basis. Thanks to fertilizers, mechanization, and irrigation, each American farmer feeds over 155 people worldwide. The conventional farming gets more and more cropped per square foot of cultivated land, over 170 bushels of corn per acre in Iowa, for example, which can mean less territory needs to be converted from wilderness to farmlands. Since a third of the planet is already used of agriculture, destroying forests and other wild habitats along the way, anything that could help us produce more food on less land would seem to be good for the environment. Of course, that's not how most environmentalists regard their arugula, a leafy green. They have embraced organic food as better for the planet, and healthier and tastier too, than the stuff produced by agricultural corporations. Environmentalists disdain the enormous amounts of energy needed and waste created by conventional farming, while organic practices foregoing artificial fertilizers and chemical pesticides are considered far more sustainable. Sales of organic food rose 7.7% in 2010, up to 26.7 billion, and people are making those purchases for their consciousness as much as their taste buds. Yet a new meta-analysis in Nature does the math and comes to a hard conclusion. Organic farming yields 25% fewer crops on average than conventional agriculture. More land is therefore needed to produce fewer crops, and that means organic farming may not be as good for the planet as we think. In the Nature analysis, scientists from McGill University in Montreal and the University of Minnesota performed an analysis of 66 studies comparing conventional and organic methods across 34 different crop species, from fruits to grains to legumes. They found that organic farming delivered a lower yield for every crop type, though the disparity varied wildly. For rainwater legume crops like beans or perennial crops like fruit trees, organic trailed conventional agriculture by just 5%. Yet for major cereal crops like corn or wheat, as well as most vegetables, all of which provide the bulk of the world's calories, conventional agriculture outperformed organic by 25%. The main difference is nitrogen, the chemical key to plant growth. The conventional agriculture makes use of 171 million metric tons of synthetic fertilizers each year. And all that nitrogen enables much faster plant growth than the slower release of nitrogen from the compost or cover crops used in organic farming. When we talk about a green revolution, we really mean not a nitrogen revolution along with a lot of water. But not all nitrogen used in conventional fertilizers ends up in the crops. Much of it ends up running off the soil and into the oceans, creating vast polluted dead zones. We're already putting much nitrogen into the soil than the planet can stand over the long term. And conventional agriculture depends heavily on chemical pesticides, which has unintended side effects. What that means is that while conventional agriculture is more efficient, sometimes much more efficient than organic farming, there are trade-offs with each. So an ideal global agriculture system, in the views of the study's authors, may borrow the best from both systems, as Jonathan Foley of the University of Minnesota explained. The bottom line, today's organic farming practices are probably best deployed in fruit and vegetable farms where growing nutrition, not just bulk calories, is the primary goal. But for delivering sheer calories, especially in our staple crops of wheat, rice, maize, soybeans, and so on, conventional farming has the advantage right now. Looking forward, I think we will need to deploy different kinds of practices, especially new mixed approaches that takes the best of organic and conventional farming systems, where they are best suited geographically, economically, socially, etc. Alright, figure 1. Organic yield as a percentage of conventional yield by crop type. Crop, fruits, oilseeds, cereals, vegetables. At 100%, the organic yield is the same as the conventional field. The number of observations for each crop type is shown in the parentheses. And figure 2 is organic yield as a percentage of conventional yield by species. At 100%, the organic yield is the same as the conventional yield. Maize, barley, wheat, tomato, soybean. Right. Let's move to question 22. As used in line 14, simple most linear means. And since a third of our planet is already used for agriculture, it's showing okay. Oh, line 14. So conventional industrial agriculture has become incredibly inefficient on a simple land to food basis. Right, a simple land to food basis. So in this case it should suggest something basic. Something modest, nope. Unadorned, nope. Easy, nope. Straightforward, yep. Okay, question 23. According to the passage, a significant attribute of conventional agriculture is its ability to A. Produce a wide variety of fruits and vegetables, B. Maximize the output of cultivated vegetables. So the answer is B, as we see from the passage. It clearly states that conventional agriculture is more efficient when compared to organic agriculture. And this can be seen in, I think, line 40, which I highlighted. Yep, here. Yet a new meta-analysis in Nature does the math and comes out to a hard conclusion: organic farming yields 25% fewer crops on average than conventional agriculture. So therefore the answer is B. 24. Which choice best reflects the perspective of the environmentalist? Line 27 on conventional agriculture. Line 27. Of course, okay. Regard to okay, let's look at the choices. A. It produces inferior fruits and vegetables and is detrimental to the environment. It is energy efficient and reduces the need to convert wilderness to farmland. It is good for the environment only in the short run. It depletes critical resources but protects wildlife habitats. Okay, so the answer for this is A. So in line 27, it makes it clear that most environmentalists believe conventional agriculture produces food that is not healthy as food produced through organic farming, and thus it is more harmful to the environment than organic farming. As you can see here, it says that many have embraced organic food as better for the planet. So therefore the correct answer here is A. Which choice provides the best evidence for the answer to the previous question? Okay, this should be line 28 to 31, which I've discussed previously, so the answer should be B. Which statement best expresses a relationship between organic farming and conventional farming that is presented in the passage? Alright, so it can be seen that the passage makes clear that while both conventional and organic farming needs nitrogen for plant growth, conventional farming uses synthetic fertilizers and organic farming does not. So thus the answer should be C. And this can be found in, I think, line 60, around line 60. Yeah, the main difference is nitrogen. The chemical key to conventional makes use of 171 million metric tons of synthetic fertilizer each year. And all that nitrogen enables us to make much faster plant growth than the slow release of nitrogen from the compost of cover crops and use organic farming. Yep. So 27 is D. Let's move on to 28. According to Foley, an ideal global agricultural system means A. Focuses primarily on yield percentages and global markets. Considers multiple factors in the selection of farming techniques. Yeah, the answer is B. So why is it not A? So, okay, let's look at line 80 to 82. Here, let's see. So an ideal global agriculture system in the views of these studies authors may borrow the best from both systems, as fully explains. Yep. So the passage states that the authors of the study comparing conventional and organic farming has come to the conclusion that the ideal global agriculture would be best to be borrowed from the both systems. So this indicates that this ideal system will take into consideration many factors, including the nutrition and calories offered by specific types of food, as well as their different geographic, economic, and social needs. So thus the answer is B. In line 88, shear most literally means but for delivering sheer calories, especially in our staple crop of wheat. Alright, so sheer means mostly like pure, because it's referring to the pure number of calories that are delivered by foods. So if you see here, pure should be D. Transparent doesn't make sense, abrupt doesn't make sense, deep doesn't make sense. Alright, let's move on to the last two questions. Which statement is best supported by the information provided in figure 1? The organic yield as a percentage of conventional yield is greater for vegetables than for fruits. The organic yield as a percentage of conventional yield is similar for cereals and all crops. The reported number of observations for each crop type exceeds 82. And the organic yield as a percentage of conventional yield is greater for vegetable crops, that is for oilseed crops. Alright, so figure 1, let's see. Okay, so we see here that the organic yield as a percentage of the conventional yield is similar for cereals and all crops, with both yielding around 75%. So that should mean that the answer should be B. Yep. Okay, now let's move on to the last question. Which of the following claims is supported by figure 2? A, of the organically grown species represented, soybeans have the lowest yield. B, the organically grown maize and barley represented are comparable in their yields to conventionally grown maize and barley. C, of the organically grown species represented, tomatoes have the highest yield. The organic grown species represented have lower yields than their conventionally grown counterparts do. Right. So let's look at figure 2. Maize 74. Okay, so what we can see here is that the organically grown species produces a smaller yield when compared to the conventional counterparts, as you can see in the data. So this means that all of the organically grown species are within a range of approximately, we can see from here, 60 to 90%. So therefore, the correct answer choice for this should be D. Organically grown species represented have lower yields than their conventionally grown counterparts do. Yep. So, although I haven't approached this passage with the tips I have given you guys, because I've repeated this so much to the point that I got used to it, I don't think it is really necessary for those who are excelling in the science passages to follow the tips that I've given in the previous video. However, if you're struggling with the science passages, I strongly advise you to use the tips that I provided in the previous video. And that is it for today. And thank you so much for watching, and I hope you have a great day.